G'day guys, welcome back to Fat Ride's Garage. In this week's episode, we're going to be lifting the coupe and putting it on the ground. G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. In this week's episode we're going to lift the coupe up with the cranes and put it on the ground. So we've got ourselves some mock-up wheels, we've got the front suspension all mounted in, coilovers and everything's in, we've got the rack and pinion steering in, we've got our engine mounts finished, extractors on, we've got a bunch of stuff happening. We've got the drive shaft in, we've checked out our driveline angles, and we actually gave Chris a call at Hardy Spicer, and he was good enough to go through everything with me, and it looks like we've got everything spot on. So yeah, it looks like as far as from an engineering point of view, hopefully everything's set up the right way. At the moment, one thing I'm not sure about is ride height. We're not going to know completely until we have it sitting on the ground. And with the rear suspension, I still haven't made any shock mounts because I'm going to have to order some sort of custom shock absorber or some sort of aftermarket shock absorber. But I can't use the OEM Mustang ones. So once I've sorted that out, I'll be able to make some mounts, and I think that's possibly going to alter ride height as well. So at the moment, I think when we lift it and put it on the ground, I think it's going to be fairly low, and yeah, but we'll just have to take it as it comes. We'll see how we go. So yeah, all right. So we're just going to get these wheels on. We'll get the cranes in. We'll get the thing slung up, and we'll go ahead and lift it and hope for the best. Cross your fingers. So these are just mock-up wheels. I just wanted to get something fairly quickly that I could use on the car while we're working on it. And probably what I'll do with these wheels later on, I'm thinking I might, if I can get around to restoring that Ute, XB Ute, I might be putting these on that. So later on, we'll be getting some custom-made wheels. They'll end up being a lot wider than the ones that are on the back of this. These are, currently it's got 20 by 10s with a 275 by 30. But I'm probably looking at going up to like a 20 by 12 or 20 by 13, so something like that anyway.
something else, I agree, but that's where you belong. la vie, said the old folks down at the bar. And our old friends piled it and up, wondering where you are. You want something else, I agree, but that's where you belong. No point bending backwards for me, I'm just shifting along. There's no use holding on. If you love it, you set it free. Just let it go, move along. That's how it's got to be. Take it down, breaking slowly for a while. Breaking is easy. Take your time, don't wait, just lay it on the line. Ooh, make it right. I'll be lonely for a while, but believe me, I'll be fine. Happens all in good time. Happens all in good time. Oh, you win some, you lose some, fall down, you get up. No matter what you do, remember, all in good time. All in good time. Oh, the wind will change, the storm will calm down. You win some, lose some, all in good time. Breaking slowly for a while. Breaking is easy. Take your time, don't we just lay it on the line? Why don't we just lay it on the line? I'll be lonely for a while, but believe me, I'll be fine. Happens all in good time. It happens all in good time. Breaking slowly for a while. Breaking is easy. Take your time, don't we just lay it on the line? Lay it on the line. I'll be lonely for a while, but believe me, I'll be fine. Happens all in good time. It happens all in good time.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to redefine yourself and to let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and unbelievers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a
Man, that looks sick. I reckon that just looks sick. We'll wait for these cranes to move, wait for the noise to die down.
I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a
Well, I have to say this is pretty exciting, getting the car on the ground after all this engineering work. She's currently sitting with a ride height of 140 mil, which it's obviously going to sink once you get more weight in it. So we're just going to have to play around with our suspension setup on the back. The front, the coilovers are adjustable, so I'm not too worried about that. Just looking at the engine setup, I think what we might do is we might just go ahead and throw the bonnet on, because I am just a little concerned about clearance. Now, even though I've made up the engine mounts, I haven't actually welded in the base plates fully, so they're only tacked. If I had to lower the engine 10 mil, 15 mil or whatever, I still can. I'll just cut those tacks. So just for the exercise, I think what we'll do is we'll get the bonnet over here and we'll put the bonnet on. I won't worry about the guards just yet, because that's just going to be a pain, because at the moment we're working on doors too. So we'll just get the bonnet, we'll set it on, we'll see what sort of clearance it offers us.
There's a place I have never been, on the cover of a magazine, alright. Gotta stay till the bitter end, on the upshot of falling trends, alright.
Alright, so just looking at clearance here, it looks like we've got plenty of clearance. I would say just from the top of those hoses and whatnot, just sitting above the throttle body, we've probably got at least 50 mil clearance, and that may be enough. And when I say enough, I'm looking at putting a Whipple supercharger on this, but even if it isn't enough, that closest point is, I don't know what it is, but it's something that could be cut. And I could scallop it so that if I needed more clearance I would. But I did a measurement, and apparently the Whipple supercharger is 19¼ inches. Well, you know, it's imperial, but that's just what it says. 19¼ inches from the center of the crank pulley to the top of the supercharger. Whether that's the pulley, the belt, or the charger, I'm not sure, but that's the very top, the uppermost point is 19¼ inches. And when we measured it earlier, it was about 35 millimeters higher than our highest point at the front of the engine. We put a straight edge along the top of the intake. So yeah, according to that, if we're accurate, we only needed 35 and we've got about 50. So that means we're looking good. Good thing I used a Mustang bonnet. I don't think the Falcon bonnet would have worked, but see, the Mustang bonnet's got a massive area that's, you know, sort of pushed upwards. And I think it was because they had a system called Ram Air, which hooked onto these vents and yeah, basically directed the air straight into the air cleaner. Alright, let's just give this a bit of a dust off, Blake. Just wipe it backwards and forwards and pick up the dust. Alright, now that we've got this thing on the floor, the next thing to do is we're going to be working on these doors. We're going to see if we can get them swinging and latching, but we've got a little bit of work to do on them first. So I'm just going to introduce you guys to a new member of the team. This is Xavier, or we call him X for short.
Hey,
there you go,
guys.
mate.
How are you?
Yeah, and so just tell us a little bit about what you're doing to the door, mate.
Yeah, so basically we're fitting a late model Mustang system, so flush door lock with all the new mechanisms and stuff like that. So we've basically made a nice plate there, just out of sheet steel. Made all the folds and everything like that. So basically wanted to get it to make it look like it was factory.
Yep.
So we had to bring it out about 18 mil.
18 mil, yeah.
And obviously taking into account that we've still got to put the rubber and everything like that. We've already checked that was all nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so over the other side, we'll be using the, you know, check straps and everything like that. We'll be checking that once that's on the door when we've got all the skin and everything.
So that's got to be welded into the B
Got
pillar.
to be welded into the B pillar.
Yep.
So basically, if we look inside, we want it to get as looking factory as possible.
Yeah.
So we've got rid of all the excess metal and everything like that. So obviously there was like 18mm worth of steel right around.
Yep.
With some folds and stuff like that. So we've got rid of all that. So once that's all cleaned up and nice, you won't even know that it's been done.
Yep.
We've kept the original inner brackets as well. Once they're tacked on like that, you know, we can run all the wiring and plastic clips, so inside it'll look really dig.
So what we've got the door off the original 2016 Mustang that I wrecked, and we're just using it as a donor. So we're taking, you know, whatever pieces we need off that, and that'll continue when we go ahead to sort of figure out the electric window system, which we're going to use from the 2016 Mustang. If we need any sections from that door, we're just going to go ahead and take them off that. So yeah, it's looking good, mate. So good to have you on board and giving us a hand.
Thanks for having me.
So like I said, it's really good to have Xavier on board because he's actually a qualified panel beater. He's not going to be working full-time on the cars. He's actually part of the crane crew, but when we have downtime he gives me a hand on the cars, and that's just that's really working out good for me because to have a qualified panel beater working next to me, obviously picking up any of my mistakes and fixing them is great. So with his work on the doors, as we showed you earlier, he's changed the back of the door shell so that we can go with the Mustang latch. But another thing that he's doing, he's in the middle of at the moment, is adapting the door skins to take the late model Mustang mirrors. Now, don't freak out because I'm not putting these ugly Mustang mirrors on. I'm actually getting a different style of mirror from the States, which they have on their Mustangs over there, which you can see in this photograph here. So as you can see in the picture, it doesn't have this high sort of triangle shape to the top of it. So anyway, just if you just come around here and have a look, we'll see how she's going to look. Obviously, ignoring the fact that this is not the original. This is not going to be the final mirror, but as you can see, and this hasn't been altered yet to fit, but it's fairly good. Like the style is going to look pretty good. It's the actual mirror itself. I'm thinking that we're probably going to have to take a little skim off the plastic on the top edge, maybe, just to get it to you know, to follow the curve of the door the door skin. But we'll get there. So another thing I was going to mention is in previous episodes I kept going on about how I wanted to get this thing on the rotisserie, get it back on the rotisserie. And that's because you know, the final welding and whatnot with the front end and back end and whatnot really needed to be on a rotisserie to get, you know, the thing around in, you know, all different positions and get all the different welds done. And the reason why it didn't go straight onto rotisserie is because I decided after putting that front end in, with all the modifications and the uncertainty about ride height and everything else, I decided that what I really wanted to do is just get the car sitting on the floor and, you know, getting an idea of where the ride height's going to be. And I'm really glad that I did that because now I can see. And as I mentioned, we've got a ride height of approximately 140 mil at the moment, but we've still got to obviously put the dash, the seats, all the interior, the fuel tank, all that sort of stuff has to go in, radiator and whatnot, the guards, the bumpers, everything. So it is going to get weighed down a bit, but what I'm counting on is that adjustability that's in the suspension, the fact that we can actually adjust it. So I think it's going to work out good. And then I decided that while it's actually on its wheels on the ground, that maybe we'll just go ahead and we'll just carry on with things like the doors, you know, getting the doors all fabbed up, the skins on, redoing the as I say, the mirrors, getting all the door gaps correct. Yeah, just basically go around and getting all of that stuff done as well. And then once we've done all the fitment, then put it on the rotisserie, and we'll finish our welds, and we'll probably do, you know, priming, body filling, whatnot, while it's on the rotisserie. So I think this was the way to go, and I'm pretty happy that we did it. The other thing too that we've got, which is pretty cool, is I wanted to do another modification to the doors, because one thing about the old XBs is the door handles. While that might be fine for a restoration or something genuine, I don't like them so much. It's not the look, it's the way they feel when you open them. Especially the aftermarket door handles, the reproduction stuff. It's almost, and I've had a few break off in my hand when I've tried to open them. It's just like you go to pull them, it's like snap, you know, and you've got to take the door apart to get the handle out. So what I've actually done is I've gone ahead and got these door handles here, which are a flush mount door handle. So what we'll do is we'll end up taking that shape out of there, smoothing it all off, and then mounting these in. So they'll obviously be flush. All you'll see is that silver part. And these are actually off an Aston Martin. So they open really nice, have a really nice shape to them. And I think they're even illuminated. There's probably a couple little lights that'll glow in the dark, who knows. But yeah, these have a really nice feel to them, so really looking forward to that. So yeah, we'll get them mounted and have them, then we're going to have to figure out how we're going to be linking them to the Mustang latch, obviously. But yeah, it's all very interesting, and yeah, looking forward to it. So I think that's probably about it for this episode. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode, where we're more than likely just going to continue on with these doors and the fitment and all the different things that go along with that.